The psychedelic revolution is here. If you want to integrate your visionary experiences into your purpose, get clear on your entrepreneurial path, and help people while you do what you love, then this podcast is for you. Welcome to The Psychedelic Entrepreneur, medicine for these times. I'm your host, Beth Weinstein. I'm a spiritual business coach, 3-time entrepreneur, and a lifelong student of psychedelics and sacred plant medicines. You carry your own unique medicine, and your medicine is what we need for these times. This podcast will help you to share your medicine so you can create transformation in the world. Listen in on conversations with psychedelic leaders, changemakers, and conscious entrepreneurs who are living proof that a better world is possible when you follow your heart and live in alignment with your soul. Hello there. Today I am going to talk about what to do and what happens when clients are not coming anymore, or there's just been a major drop in your business. This is not a fear-based episode. This is an inspirational episode that will get you into a completely new mindset to start to see some shifts in your business and in your reality. So I'm going to address a few things here. What inspired this conversation was a friend and I talking, and she was just saying like, wow, things are really slow. I'm going to address a few factors. So I was telling her, I've gone through this. I think everybody's gone through this. There's always ups and downs, and there's energetics of business. I have to say I've been fairly lucky where I have a pretty steady stream of clients and leads because I have set my business up very well 10 years ago. And it's gotten to the point where I don't even really have to do that much. But I will tell you in a minute another reason why that is. And this is something I'm starting to help my clients with more. I have an entire program around this called Sooner I, which I will also address. I have to say this has come up multiple times, and maybe this is my first episode where I'm sharing it. I've written about this to my email community and on social media, how as the world changes, as we see major shifts happening on the planet, how we are going to have to find a different approach. Right now, everyone is under the impression that you need to be famous on Instagram to have a viable, abundant business. It's, sometimes it actually makes me very sad to see how many people get caught up in that illusion, thinking like, well, if I just post more videos of me dancing, then I'll get more clients. And maybe you will, I'm not saying you won't get clients that way. I'm saying if you have a very small community and you have not been consistent and you're not even clear on what your message is and you don't even know what it is that you're offering right now, then posting on Instagram is really not going to do anything for you. I mean, to be honest, I have posted very little just because that's not where my inspiration is right now. Maybe I will go back, but I've always really followed where the inspiration is, and where the inspiration is always guides me to the money. So I'm going to address a few factors here. One of the first basic things that I've been doing for 10 years, it's traditional business coaching. If you are in a place where you've just been very lucky the last 5 years, because a lot of people were, because we were in this different time in the world, and you had a lot of clients coming in and things just felt really easy. And it was like, wow, especially if you're offering medicine work or psychedelic therapy, it kind of had this like heyday, and it's still going on. There's still people looking for it, but there might have been a drop. There's also more people out there offering it. There's just more accessibility. It's pretty much everywhere now, and there's many different kinds of medicine. So there's just the reality, and same thing with healers and coaches. And here's the thing, I do not believe in the scarcity. Like someone I was talking to was saying, well, I offer sound and voice, and so do a lot of other people. Well, yeah, there's 8 billion people on planet Earth. I mean, there's like millions of business coaches out there. I'm just another business coach. I do take a certain approach and have a certain value system built into my business and work with certain kinds of clients, people just like you. But there are many, and I've never really been threatened by them. It's just like, there's enough for everyone, and everybody has their vibration, their resonance that will call in the right clients. But anyways, the one thing is if the basics need to be addressed first. So If you're not even clear on what your business offering is right now, that's the first step. And here is the number one problem. And I've been seeing this for years, and this is why I have various programs, including my private coaching, that actually helps you address clarity in your business. Clear offerings lead to clear messaging. And vice versa, by the way. You can actually go backwards and nail the messaging and understand your ideal client and the communication, and then maybe an offering will come about from that. I've seen that happen. But one of the biggest problems is, especially the last 5-6 years, since a lot of people had started their coaching, healing, psychedelic business, people were kind of just like going with it, right? Like you got lucky, you got clients, you were just running with it. And that was great. But now you're at a place where you probably come to a point where you're like, wow, I need to start getting real with my business. I need to create something new. I feel like something new is coming through me. Maybe a pivot, maybe an additional offering, maybe a different way of working. I do not think it's about just like, okay, go lower your rates and see if people say yes. I don't think that's it, because we all know, we can name names, right? We all know people going on $6,000 retreats and paying, I don't know, there's people out there charging 5 figures for medicine work. So we can't say it's just the money, right? What happens is you evolve. The world evolves, you evolve, the world around you, the people around you, everybody's changing. We have to first accept that change is part of life. It's just the beauty of it. Nothing is ever the same. Everything is constantly moving. So I think what happens is people get really tied into what things were like 2 years ago, 5 years ago, etc. And they get really attached to like, well, wait, it used to be so good. I used to be the best person for this himself. So meaning, how many of you are just going through the motions of like, well, this is what has worked, but you're evolving and something new is maybe waiting to be birthed through you. And maybe you don't even know what it is yet. And this is where I have a lot of great tools and a lot of great programs and offerings that will help you first start to get clarity. The number one issue is that everybody thinks the clarity comes through thinking. And it doesn't. It can't, or else you would have already known what it is by now, right? So the more you're like looping in your head, trying to get clarity around what's next in your business, the more it's actually setting you back. And this is actually where I get a lot of people coming to me saying, I don't know what's been going on. I've been trying to figure this out for the last 1, 2, 3 years, whatever it is, months. I can't seem to get clarity around what I'm offering and what I'm here to do next. I don't even know how to explain to people how I help people. These are very basic things. And so what happens is the mind, the way the mind works, is that the mind wants to grip onto this control and make sense out of everything and have to be clear before I actually go take actions and do things. That's the way the ego is designed to keep you safe. It's both wonderful and also like our, worst enemy at times, right? I've been calling it this for so many years, the clarity conundrum. The conundrum is the human mind thinks you need to be clear on what you're doing and what you're offering first, and then go do it. But it's actually the other way around. And this is leading to the next things that I'm going to talk about. If you're not clear on what you're offering, or you're stuck in a rut, or like nothing's flowing, and you're just like, oh, something's off, I need to make some changes, the best thing you can do is just go do it. And experiment and play and have some fun and just like see what happens. I will be honest, I have a new offering. It's not that new. I launched it back in late October. And I had been, it had been kind of channeling through me for a year and a half or so. And I was like, and I kept thinking the same thing, like, well, I'm not really ready. I'm not really clear. I don't know what it looks like. And then it was weird. There was just this moment in time where I decided to, this is my next piece of advice. I was in a place where I could feel it coming through me, but I wasn't clear on what it was. So I decided to just start experimenting. And you know what? Let me run a free workshop and see what happens. So I ran a free workshop that was all connected to abundance and money. And it was called Aligned Abundance, and it is still out there, by the way. It's Pay What You Wish. And I was like, let me just play with what has worked for me and all my clients for the last 10 years and see what happens. And the turnout was great. It was a great experience. And then I ran it again with a little more experimentation. And then before I ran it, I decided to just whip together an offering. Like literally it took me half a day or maybe even less. I was like, you know what? I've had these things, these ideas. Let me just put it together and see if anyone wants it. And you don't have to like write it out on a nice sales page like I did. I'm just really good at doing that. And I've been doing that for a long time. You can just put it together in a document. You don't even have to put it in a document. You could actually just run something, a workshop or whatever it is, and then put it out there, speak it into reality and see what happens. Maybe you could start talking to your friends. I had something channel through me on a silent retreat a few weeks ago, and I've started telling a few people like, hey, this idea channeled through me. What do you think? And you know what? I'm just going to do it and see what happens because there's nothing to lose. So this is the one thing. I had someone back in the fall, I think it was, who wanted to work with me, couldn't afford it, blah, blah, blah. So we stayed in touch. That was that. And it's all good. And there was a point where she was like writing me on Instagram and she said, I just feel really stuck. And I'm like, you know what? Just go give, go do something, go offer something purely out of service. This is the other thing. And I've had to train myself to do this over and over and over, and I really train my clients as well, is to step out of the perspective that your soul's work is connected to money. And that's a big one because, of course, you want money. Everyone wants money. We need money. But the more you actually decouple what you're here to do, how you're here to serve, how you're here to help people, the more you decouple it from, I need to pay the bills, I need to make money, the better it actually starts to flow. And this is where, so I have been doing a modality that is actually part of my newer program called Soonerai, a journey home to your clarity, abundance, and your quintessence. And this is a program that helps you really start to shift your unconscious patterning and programming, especially when it comes to money and abundance and your soul's work. Because what's happening for a lot of people, and I get it, I've done so much work on this and it still comes up and it's a constant, conversation with myself internally and with my not conscious, which, is not conscious, so I don't even know what's running. But just to start to see that there are potentially programs that are running in your world, in your psyche, in your not conscious, that might be in the way of you having what you want. For example, I can't tell you the amount of times I catch my clients saying things, and it sometimes is like one word or two words where I'm like, wait, what was that? And I have to stop them and have them like backtrack and notice, like, did you notice what you were just saying? Well, that's interesting. Let's dive into it. And then what starts to unravel underneath all that, and this is what I'm trained in, is a modality called transformational neuro-linguistic programming that has you really see what is actually running in your unconscious that is potentially in the way of getting clients, having the income, being seen, getting visible, speaking your truth, speaking your voice, allowing in, receiving in more money, abundance clients. And it is fascinating to see some of the layers and layers and layers. And this happens very often when people also hit like ceilings or, kind of these unconscious ceilings where maybe things were going well. It was really easy. You're like, wow, this is so great. And then something in your unconscious swoops in and stops you. And you don't even know what it is. And maybe you don't even have an awareness that it stops you. Maybe it's just swoops in and does it. And you just think it's actually something with like, wow, people aren't coming through. Or maybe I'm just in a rut or people aren't saying yes. But maybe it's actually something else. This is where I believe our entire world will be heading. At least the world that I see. Because what's happening, and this is my theory, and I've written about it, and I'm curious to see how this all unfolds, but we're in a world where 6, 7, 8 years ago, I've been in this coaching industry for over 10 years. I've seen things change a lot. And yeah, what used to work 10 years ago is not as easy now. And hey, I'm glad I became a coach 10 years ago because it was great. It was like certain things worked really well. Back 10 years ago, we didn't even have TikTok, right? Instagram wasn't what it was today. Facebook's algorithms were completely different. I pretty much gave up on my Facebook group because it's practically useless now. But, years ago, it was great. So the world is changing and it's moving very fast. And we all know that AI is here, and whether you like it or not, it's here. And I have so many mixed feelings about it. And that's a whole other episode I can do because it's pretty wild to see what I have witnessed as a business coach with my clients who use AI. And it's working against most people. And that's the scary part, is everyone thinks it's helping them and it's actually making things worse. But to each their own, we'll see what happens. But what I see out there is that there's so much noise, including my podcast, right? There's so much noise. There's all this distraction. There's videos and posts and, 20 platforms. And what happens is people think oh, I need to do this and this and this and this and this and this and post here and make this. And then they get caught up in it. And maybe they go through the waves. I can't even tell you how many people go through this, right? The waves of wow, I'm doing great. And then you feel bad. And then you go down into a pit of and then you don't want to do it again. And I know, because I go through this where I'm do I even want to be on there? Do I even care anymore? Part of me never cared. And part of me still doesn't care because it works. It's fine for me, but it's not my pride and joy, Thankfully, I have a large email audience and I have other ways of getting clients. And that's where I focused a lot of my time and energy all these years, and it's paid off. Great, But others, some people really like being out there on Instagram and being an influencer. If that's your goal, is just to have followings and get something from being liked, fake liked, then go for it. But what happens is I see so many people get caught up in the noise and I should do this and maybe I should do that. And then their energy, which, we are limitless beings and you only have a certain amount of energy to give in, each day, right? And then you still want to have a life and fun and friends and etc. So what happens is people's energy is getting spread out everywhere, but very thinly and not deep, right? It's okay, maybe you make a viral post, good for you. Maybe you get more followers, great. But is this really doing anything for you? And then what happens when you're riding the waves and you're doing well, but then there's a lull, right? And then you get down, which by the way, these algorithms are designed to have you addicted like this, to have you looking for that high again, which is again, a whole other podcast episode. But what I want you to see is what's happening is there's just all this noise and all this distraction, and it's having you lose your center. A lot of people don't even know what they're talking about because they don't even know what they're offering, and they don't even know internally what they're feeling and what they want. You can go make fun videos and, and they're fun. I have fun making content. I love it, But at the same time, it's if it's getting you so off center where you're I don't understand. I made all these great videos and I have followers, but somehow I'm not making money. I'm not getting clients and no leads are coming in. It's you have to stop and come back to your center and start to get clarity within. And what I believe is happening is that with just the amount of noise and platforms, and as my good friend Sam Perry is constantly reminding us, it's these little, these algorithms that are constantly trying to get our most precious resource from us, our attention. And when you lose your attention and when you give up your attention, you give up your presence, you give up your energy, you give up your center, your sovereignty, your heart, your soul even. It's of course, people don't even understand what you're offering. So there is that. So I'm addressing basic business structures and clarity, which is something I help with. That you need first, messaging, understanding what you're even offering and how to explain what it is and how it will help people. Then it's your mindset and your beliefs and your unconscious programming that might be in the way. And then on top of it, you add in this like other layer that's only getting worse every day of just like so much noise and distraction where even when one of my clients said something to me yesterday about this. It was like, well, I don't know. I just did this and then I gave up and then I got really busy and went on to something else. It's like, you know what? What might happen if you slow down a little bit and hone in your focus and your energy on what it is you actually really want? And I think this is the missing piece in our society, and we will see how this all plays out, because what I find is, for example, I went on a silent retreat, I meditated for 4 days, and that's an extreme. You don't need to do that. But I really intentionally was slowed down during a holiday weekend, and I came back and I got a random client paying for something that was not inexpensive. It was my Sooner I program. She just like signed up for it. I don't even know who she is. She just went and signed up. And then a few days later, somebody else went and signed up. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't even do anything. I was completely offline. And I got 2 clients out of the blue for doing absolutely nothing. Why is that? Well, it's exactly what I'm talking about here. But the more people are losing their center and connection to themselves and their heart and their souls and getting distracted, and it's just giving you less and less clarity. And then next thing you know, when someone says like, oh, what do you do? And you're like, I don't even know. I don't even know how I help people. Well, it's like what happens is the clients out there in the field, and I'm really running most everything in my business these days, looking at everything as just pure energy. There's people out there at a certain resonance, vibration, energetic resonance, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. There's a group of people that want what you offer. But if there's over here like vibrating this and you're over here with this like messy signal, it's not going to connect. And that's what happens. That's what I think is going to be happening more and more as this world changes. And then we throw in the astrology, which is wild. And I don't think it's going to get any less wild. The solar flares, I don't know about you, but those of us that are super sensitive, it's like these astrology transits, these big life-changing, I'm not just saying, some of these transits are like once in a lifetime. They're not just like, oh yeah, this happens every 6 years. They truly have an effect on us. And the solar flares, which, some people might not even believe in that, but you can look it up on actual mainstream media and science. They're here and they have been affecting people. But what also happens is as the world changes, as this whole, the magnetic poles, the solar flares, the energetics, those of you that are tuned in to working with plant spirits and different medicines, you are becoming so energetically sensitive that, there is a point where I don't even know if we're going to need anything like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all of that. And that's, I think, the world that we're getting to. And that's the world I'm living in, where I get to come off a silent retreat and make, what was that? Let's see, almost $5,000. That's pretty good. So that's what I want to share. And I, on some level, it's interesting because I'm sharing this because this is the part of my work that's changing. I'm still offering business coaching, but I'm actually weaving a lot of this work in because this is where I see the easy, magical results with my clients. I have seen, it's like the unlocking of a locked door. When we do this deeper work that I offer in my Sooner I program, what happens is things just flow in much easier. So it's kind of like if you have a business that's already built and something's not working, great, come and do the Sooner I program. If you're going through major change and don't know what you're doing next and really need some help grounding your business in and getting structures and support and systems and clarity, then private coaching, plus I give some of this transformational NLP in it, which will help allow things to flow and get your unconscious programming and, these vows and hidden beliefs of suffering, family loyalties, unconscious loyalties of scarcity, of, succeeding and then like not allowing yourself to have it. There's so many different layers that can run in the unconscious. So if you're sensing that maybe you're just blocked and there's something going on where it's like, wait, my business is great, everything's set up, I'm like solid with my ideal clients, but why am I not experiencing more flow? Well, let's dive into it. There might be something running there. So you can take a look at the links in my show notes, reach out if you have any questions. And the one other piece of advice I want to reiterate that was on top of this, where I mentioned business structure, support, clarity, unconscious mindset, and the noise in your center. But the other one thing I always say is like, when in doubt, just show up. Just show up and serve someone somehow. Ask yourself how you can give within your community. Is there something you can just volunteer and do? Is there a free offering you could give to your audience? Just show up. And I think there's a lot to be said for that energy of wanting to truly serve and decouple your money from your service and see what happens. It's like, if you have free time, what are you doing with it? You might as well just show up and serve someone somehow. And if that's volunteering at something in your local neighborhood or helping a friend with their event or someone else's, offering, like, go for it, just give and see how that energetic exchange pays you back in the world, in your life. I hope you enjoyed this and found some value. If you haven't already, I would appreciate a review. I haven't asked for a review, I think, in like 2 years, but I always forget because I really just do this for fun. But I would love a review. If you can, on Spotify or Apple or wherever, review. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, give a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Many blessings to you. I'll see you next week. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you're feeling inspired, I'd appreciate it if you showed your love with a review. And check out my YouTube channel where you can find the video version of this podcast. You can also head to bethaweinstein.com to learn more about me and grab my free business growth trainings. Remember, you carry your own unique medicine, and your medicine is what we need for these times.